Yeah, Joe. So, I guess we talk offline a lot about home ownership and, different communities. And like I always tell you about my community where home ownership is probably a new thing for us. Yep. Like we're first generation here, like the Tongan Samoans and Pacific Islanders, Fijians. And I was speaking to you the other day and, I sort of like resonated with what you were telling me about, how your family did it when they came over, when your parents came over. Can you just tell us a little bit about, when your parents came over, their vision for sort of the family and why they got into property and why home ownership was so important for them and investing in property?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So what we probably find, even though we probably both came from different parts of the world, us all the way over in Europe and yourselves not too far from Australia, we probably find our traditional thoughts were quite similar. So to give you some background, my family grew up on farms over in Italy. So what they predominantly focused on was growing their crops, growing their animals, just enough to support their family. And those farms are sort of passed on generation to generation. So not necessarily building wealth, but just enough to support your family. When we came over to Australia, our families came over to offer us a better life. That's the whole reason for coming over to Australia. What they learned very quickly in Australia was the quickest way and the most efficient way to support your families was to build wealth through purchasing properties. As we know, in Australia, property prices have gone up exponentially. Year on year at the moment, we're seeing property prices going up and up. So what we found is during those periods of time, a lot of my family and generally the Italians in general bought a lot of land out in areas that were probably quite considered remote, but were on the outskirts of Sydney. Yeah. And they bought it for quite reasonable prices out of the time. They worked hard and focusing on paying down the loans that they had against those properties. And now those properties today are worth millions and millions. And for them, it wasn't always about the dollars. They didn't care about the dollars. But what they realized about later on in life, they've created something now that they can pass on to their children, and those children can pass on to their children, that is going to help make their lives easier, that they're not going to have to work 2-3 jobs like my family did when they first came over. Yeah. They can have their standard, 9 to 5 jobs, spend time with their family because they had this background of property which has generated wealth for them. So I think it's quite important. Like if we're not to take the dollars aside, if all you care about is your family, having property that can always is essentially going to grow in value, help build up your family, provide the wealth for generations to come. That's always been a key focus of ours. And now you see a lot of our community from there have sort of realized the profits of those properties that they bought early on in the days and have now supported their families for many generations to come.
Yeah, wow, that's, it's inspiring. And when I look at your guys' stories, I see where we could be, where we could head as a community. And if there's a message out there for us Pasifika people, Joe's, I think, really captured it in a nutshell there. And, we not too long ago, they were on farms in Italy. And look at them today. So, guys, we're coming. And thanks, Joe. Thanks for that. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you.